I don't want to talk too much about the phenomenon of Gestalt. However, the main idea about Gestalt is that a Gestalt is a whole, a complete, in itself resting whole. As soon as we cut up a Gestalt, we have bits and pieces and not a whole anymore. I mean, a Gestalt wants to be completed. If the Gestalt is not completed, we are left with unfinished situations. And these unfinished situations press and press and press and want to be completed. How to get hold of this Gestalt is very simple. These Gestalten will emerge. They will come to the surface. Always the most important Gestalt will emerge first. We don't have to dig à la Freud into the deepest unconscious. We have to become aware of the obvious. If we understand the obvious, everything is there. And the neurotic is a person who doesn't see the obvious. So what we're trying to do in Gestalt therapy is to understand the word now, the present, the awareness, and see what happens in the now. In order to work, I like and I brag about the 6 components of my work. To work, I need my skill, the so-called hot seats, which in this case is very beautiful, the empty chair, which has a task of taking up roles which we have disowned, other people which we need to understand our life script. We need something that is absent. I hope maybe today we don't need it. That is Kleenex, my cigarettes, the ashtray, and then I'm in business. Make now the first acquaintance with one of the most frequent splits in the human personality. That is the top-dog underdog split. The top-dog, known in psychoanalysis as the superego or the conscience. Unfortunately, Freud left out the underdog. And he did not realize that usually the underdog wins in the conflict between top-dog and underdog. The top-dog always says, you should. The underdog says, yeah, or I promise, or I agree with you, or manjana. If I only could. So the underdog is a very good frustrator. We experience ourselves as a unique something. And then we like to call it personality or soul or essence and so on. I do exactly the opposite. I'm not helpful. I force them to do their own dirty job, to discover themselves. So we try always to get hold and find out and start always in Gestalt therapy with the idea, where are you? Where are you in time? Where are you in place? Are you all there? Or are you at home attending to some unfinished business? And where are you in your awareness? Are you in touch with the world? Are you in touch with yourself? And when we are in touch with the world, then something happens. What makes us getting in touch with the world? That is the emerging Gestalt, the emerging need, the emerging unfinished situation. And if we cannot cope with that situation, we are looking for support. Somebody to help us to cope with. And that support can either be secured by manipulating the environment for support, by crying for help, putting on certain roles to secure this help, by playing helpless, playing crybaby, controlling the world. Or we get the support from within ourselves, and then we call it we withdraw into ourselves to find the support. The idea of Gestalt therapy is change paper people into real people, which you have to deal with, whether this part is part of yourself or part of somebody you carry with you, somebody with whom you haven't got a situation finished. As Gestalt therapy is exclusively interested in the now, and our aim is to learn to cope with whatever happens. Now, Gestalt therapy is not an analytical but integrative method. If you work with dreams, not to interpret, not to play interpretation and intellectual games. I believe any interpretation is a therapeutic mistake.
How can you be sure that coming here doesn't harm them?
You asked me that silly question yesterday, and I told you to observe and see what harm do you expect did come to these people you've seen today.
Well, do you think it's possible that people who come here could be...
I'm not talking about possibilities, I'm talking about your eyes.
What do you mean?
What did you see?